And the thing that we have to be careful of is where we spend this money that was just appropriated. By the way, I missed that meeting, I apologize for that, because I'm in the dark. But I understand we had $270,000 that we're gonna figure out how we improve that system.
Well, it's pretty much specifically going to that, a new well,
Just
and
the
a
well.
wellhead, yeah, it's not going into the system per se, it's going in specifically for a new drill.
The additional monies we was looking for is not gonna,
If it's another round,
Why not a tank?
because they don't wanna fund a tank unless you got a source to fill it.
Wells
and
first.
we've applied probably in the last 2 months about 3 or 4 places, it might be grants, might be loan share grants, trying to see what we could do to possibly do the project, and we are still, we met 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and that particular avenue didn't look too good, but there are some other avenues that came up that we didn't know about. So, and we're going toward those now.
Whatever we do on the improvements, we don't wanna pressurize those lines up, they can't take it. So
I agree.
if we get a nice system going, we'll have to keep a reducer on all that, and no more than 55. So just keep that moving.
Jim, how big of a line do you think that would be necessary to replace that 2-inch?
You'd have to talk GDA on that.
We can't cut anything less than that.
Gotcha.
Stay on that wall.
Fire hydrants, fire flow.
Even if it's feeding with 1.5 inches.
Okay?
It's true. It's a fact.
Straight PVC into that. Anything else on Stormhaven there, Kim?
That answers that question.
By lateral flushing.
No, I think that's covered it.
So I got another blue stake on that one where we took out the tree, that they were gonna grind the roots out. Was we a part of that too?
That was in the original bid.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want to cut the tree down and deal with the stone.
That's that 900 or whatever the whole.
950, I mean, add another, I don't know exactly. I think it was a $35 item or something like that.
Well, they must have subbed it out, it came through under a different name.
Oh, it's the same company that did it.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a different name on the blue stake ticket. It came out on there.
Congratulations.
So in
That's
relation to
next-
those trees, are we
that's next
behind them or in front of them?
In relation to the tree.
To the row of trees on the front of his property?
We are over on the property owner's side, which
Of those
means we are
trees.
east of those trees, or right under them.
Yeah, pretty close, huh?
Yeah, in other words, if you go to put a new line in, you'd want to get out on the street.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want to get out of these front yards altogether. Because, I mean, they've been putting in gates and stuff, I've been up there marking lines, and I'm like, I wouldn't dig right here.
Not even within 5 feet, don't shake the dirt. Literally.
But that's what we thought we'd find, a 2-inch PVC pipe. When I was standing out there talking, that's what they thought, that's what you're gonna find here is a 2-inch PVC pipe, so they're pretty.
Well, you've got pipes that are undersized and also not adequate thickness. So, yeah, that's,
Well, I was talking to Gary about this, and I think once we find these unknowns, we're tracking them and we're charting them and stuff, so we're not going back and trying to find them again.
yeah.
I mean, I know some of these are going off, and I talked to Ryan on a couple of them, but each time they come up 50 feet or whatever feet, at least we're trying to piece this water system together, as far as, at least map-wise, I hope.
Yeah, and this app he's got me using that when I go out to Mark, I can take a picture and flag it and it brings that up if you ever go back to that area. It'll bring the picture up and it's right there in the file. You can see what was there and what we did, so a few more years down the road when we all can't remember what we did, we can see it. So yeah, it's a really good app.
Kim, what ended up being leaking there? Was it the meter or was it the homeowner's line or?
In the 2-inch PVC, it looked like it had a crack from a big rock. And then when we started excavating, it really busted loose. But that's what it was. It looked like the pipe had no bedding around. all. And so one of the bigger rocks was like, it might even crack maybe that.
It was the water department side that was leaking.
If no more questions, we'll close out number 9 and move on to number 10. Item number 10, which is approval of council meeting minutes for the April 9th council meeting.
Yeah.
Did everyone have a chance to read those? And if they did, or have any comments, or
Yeah.
when the time, or when I'd like to make a motion, the chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
What's that?
Chair will entertain a motion with regards to the minutes.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes as written. Do we have a second?
Second.
First and second. Any last discussion on it? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes pass and as written. Okay, item number 11, Recorder's Office warrant approval, announcements, et cetera. I think we have the warrants in front of us, and so we'll let Mary go over those. I know we had 2 come in at the very last minute, which with council's consent, we'd like to get those paid as well. They're not on this list. Is that right, Mary?
Yeah, Mary called today and gave me his hours for BMW and Stormhaven.
And I received a bill that went from Flores that went to the wrong address, and so I also turned that into Mary today and a quarterly
You want
bill.
that on here as well?
Yeah, if we can. Yeah.
How much were they?
So the Flores one was 500 for the quarterly, and then on Gary's, there's 6 hours for Daniel Municipal Water and 4 hours for Stormhaven.
But those 2 items that are not on this council bill, those could also get paid.
Carrie had how many hours?
Daniel Municipal 6, Stormhaven 4.
6 and 4, okay.
Mary, is there anything that sticks out on the first page with regards to the town of Daniel on the first page with regards to warrants? Or council, does anyone have any questions, I guess, or?
Remind me, the Hartsville Center, that was the.
Yeah, there's probably more than 1 or 2 actually now.
Is there?
Yeah.
So this will be the trailer park and the, are we doing anything with the school
There was
yet?
Branch
Yeah.
Road too.
Branch Road,
Yep.
okay.
And that's, currently being worked
Okay. Looks like we'll probably be in litigation with that, huh?
on. Possible.
We haven't had too much response, I don't think. Our leagues and cities and towns went up again, huh?
And that was,
557.76. Yeah, that's the name of it.
Is that per month?
per year.
year.
per year.
Mhm. And then also, just so everybody knows, last month, they never got the snow removal bill to us on time. They didn't turn it in until the beginning of the month, so it's on there as well from March.
The warrants look good. The chair will entertain a motion to accept the warrant with,
Approve the updated.
yep.
So moved.
Okay, we have a first,
Second.
we have a second. Any last discussion on the warrant? If none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Warrant's approved. Okay, so this would be Mary and I's first budget, and so we would like to present our tentative budget, and we would certainly entertain and love some discussion if someone feels that one of the categories may or may not be up to what they think might be dollar-wise accurate, and so we did meet quite a few times to go through these numbers, and I will just kind of, I'd like to maybe take a look at it for a few minutes, and then I'll go through each page, starting with the general fund, which would be for the town of Daniel. That should be the first page of your budget packet. Anyone in the audience need any copies, or do they have all of it? Okay.
Do you want a copy? Okay.
Can start rambling here in a minute, or do you guys want to kind of still study it before I start talking?
I'm ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
So just, I don't know if I need to hit every line item, but we tried to keep that property tax at current, which we have been able to do that for the last 5 years and not have a truth in taxation increase on the residents, which I think that's great. Property taxes, so as everyone knows, we have an actual that is, money still coming in. Our end of our fiscal year is the end of June 30th. Thus, there are some dollars and amounts that are not in this actual, but are still coming in before the end of the fiscal year. So if you go back to the actual 17 is kind of the second column in from the left, and then also our budget, which is the original budget on the far right side. And so that's kind of the numbers that, comparing back and forth of where we were and what we put in for what we think might be coming down the pike. So I'll go with that being 40,000 for property tax is what we expect to receive as a town. General sales tax is kind of interesting because it kind of goes up and down, but we felt that with the growth of the valley that I doubt the sales tax contribution would be less, so we kind of have it there at that 115,000. Energy tax revenue is go down 23,000, and so and we have a 25 telecom tax revenue, fee in lieu of property taxes. I'm not quite sure what that line item was. Do you remember, Mary?
Would be in the, just extra,
In lieu of,
it's not the actual property tax, but there's like an additional,
to come in afterwards, yes, that's right. It'd be property tax that may come in a year after or prior or prepaid, be it through a real estate transaction or not. So that wasn't really counted to specifically. License and permits, business licenses, we kept at 2,000. Building permits at 30,000. Those figures are kind of, at least the building permits, kind of what Brian and I think Eric kind of might see coming down the pipe, so those are the figures we put in. Class C road funds, additional 60,000. We received 64 last year. We had 54 as a budget last year, but we received 64, so we felt comfortable at 60,000 for road funds allotment. The interest earnings on one of our PTIFs is 5,000. You can see we kind of that was 5,000 there. Actual Well, we haven't even got in our actual, I think there's one more quarterly, or possibly two, that would take that 3556 to, up into the 4s or close to 5, so. Normally don't want to count too many eggs that I think might be coming down, but, so we can, that figure. Impact fees, or miscellaneous revenue, didn't really count on a whole lot there, under the general fund. Impact fee transportation is 7488. The contributions and transfers, that line item is where, as far as the town, we have a balanced budget. That is a line item that we were able to use to balance the budget. And then, as all of us that have come on a regular basis, we'll have an amendment next month for the year 17-18. I would expect we're going to have an amendment to the budget for our 18-19 year as well. But this is as close as we're trying to put it. That would take us down to a total of $322,055 for that budget. Any questions on that or discussion?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Yes, sir?
On building permit, you have 30,000. Where does the rest of the money go? Because I know I paid over 20,000 myself. I know there's Kurt that did his, and I know he's over 17. Brady did his. So why is there only 30,000 there? Where'd the rest of the money go for building permits?
It's not going, is what we anticipate. So some years we might have more builds that we think we might receive 30,000, or in your case, as you're saying, we might have received more than that. So it's not money that's going anywhere. We just don't think we might have as many builds this new year as we did this last year.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
And we might have more builds, and then we'll be on the fatter side, at least budget-wise, but that's
It's better to be conservative and then,
That's
okay,
right.
makes sense.
Let's see. Okay, so that was that particular budget. Any other questions? If not, we'll move on to our general fund as well, which would be the ending part, which would be administration and legal. So last year we had 42,000. We've always kept it at 60 just because we felt we needed to bump it back to 60. So that's where we put that. We've got a little more legal discussions that we'll have to have with the town. Our engineering came in at 35,000. That was an amount that Ryan felt would be appropriate.
Thanks.
Anyway, miscellaneous bank charges and administration charges, 100. Public works, wages and salaries. And I know there's a few items that there's about 3 that when we put our budget, Mary, together, is that one of the line items that we were talking about, or?
Which one, sorry?
Well, there's 3 that after we put this together, that kind of came up between Friday and today as far as changing a few amounts.
So one of them is on the public works supply. We had changed it to 2,000, and the recommendation is to put it back up to 8,000.
And was it at 8,000 the prior year?
The prior year for
And it's public works, one more time, public works.
public works supplies,
Supplies, repair, and maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had that at 3, but we're bumping that an additional 5 to 8.
so last year we had 5,000 budgeted and we used 10,000.
Okay,
Wait, am I on the wrong one?
about right, actual 2. From now it shows 10,178, 176.
Right.
Yeah, and so we changed it to 3,000, but it's recommended to change it back to 8, or to change it up to 8.
Okay. Does the council have any issues moving it back up to 8? I know that when Mary and I were looking at this, and then of course with some of the new weed stuff that came in, we want to feel comfortable with it, so we were told that we need to bump it up. Okay, 15,000, we on
So then the public works engineering, we don't have anything. Last year we had 3,000. Eric, where do you think that needs to be?
Well, I think we are gonna end up with some engineering as far as any of our roads.
And we would, and so Ryan was, you know, he put both in water and general and I would agree, we're gonna have some roads, we got 60 grand to budget, and so we haven't done roads for 2 years, and so,
And so, and that would take the bid, all the engineering spec out, and so that's more than zero.
agreed.
Unless we get a good deal. So that's why I highlighted that one. I thought, wow, we're to that because our chips have been sitting at the end of the cul-de-sac a couple of years. We haven't. So I thought maybe the council would want to look at that.
And I would agree, and Ryan's would be, whatever the budget is, he'll plan for that amount of chip sealing, crack sealing, whatever kind of, it probably needs, he does have a schedule of which roads would be next, and, you know, which ones are needing it the most, but I agree that could go up.
Yeah, our facility plan, I'm sure we're behind on it.
We are.
Has he already got the chips?
We had some left over.
Oh, part of it.
Yeah, some of those synthetic chips we bought, and so we was able to store them down the end of the cul-de-sac.
We really haven't lost that much.
We haven't lost that much.
A little bit.
A little bit. but
Nobody
not bad.
backed up, took them away.
A few, but it's been pretty good.
Okay, so Eric, on that line item, we were looking at the, which one were you down at, the 15,000? No, excuse
No,
me, the
no, we're down.
engineering,
Yeah,
excuse me.
so it looks like in 17 it was 3,200, 49 and 18, you know, it's like, I think we ought to put something in there, even if it's 3,000 or,
Okay, I can go with 3,000 on that.
okay.
Why is weed control so
I
much?
was just gonna ask.
Well, the weed control, what happened on the weed control was, remember we bought a new sprayer? Well, we got it in on the year before budget.
We have a sprayer?
We do.
A decent one.
I can put my little 2-gallon sprayer away?
You bet. Back your truck up. We got 100 gallons
Where do you keep it?
out in my barn.
He's a licensed one to do the weeds.
You ever seen me out on the road doing it? No.
Then you know how to spray it.
We got one last year, but we budgeted for it in the last year, but we actually got it before the budget expired, so we put it on the year before.
What brand is it?
It's a North Star.
Once again, it's a tentative budget. If there's consensus on any amount that we're just too high or too low on, we certainly want to adjust it now before we present it next month.
So the admin travel,
Hold on. So we've
that's
got
on the first page.
What's with that?
First
Okay.
page, administrative. Did you hit that one as we came by, Mary?
I was just going to, yeah,
She's hitting it
Okay.
right now.
yeah, that one and the training.
Okay, go ahead with the Marion on, which page is that?
So
Second
back
one?
on, no, back
No,
on the very
first
first page,
First page,
right
yeah.
towards the bottom, there's admin travel,
There we
admin
go.
training.
Okay.
Those are the other two that we need to, well, there's three.
Yeah, those three.
So we had originally budgeted for just $100 on the travel.
And the reason being is we just haven't had receipts brought into us for travel, so we figured we'd put something there because there might be. But I don't know, maybe you have and we weren't aware of it. or any
No,
travel.
I actually haven't turned in mileage, but I think that the people that are coming to replace should be shorted on the budget end of it.
So what do you think that needs to be changed to?
Well, we're talking travel, correct?
Travel, yes.
Right. I mean, I don't know, I didn't go down to St. George this year, I sat that one out. So I mean, that travel doesn't come. We're headed to, here's my concern, we're headed to some legal ramifications between our planning board and our board here. It's cheaper for us to train our people than to pay the lawyers to try and get us out of trouble. And I see us getting pretty close to trouble
In a few areas.
in a few areas. Right, that's why I say both boards. There is some legalities to some things that are said that will be brought up in court, and we have a liability. We are public officials. And I think that we're headed, that's why legal needs to stay high, and I think the training is well paid for.
Training for sure, and anything to do with more education and understanding for sure.
Yes.
As far as those amounts then, I mean,
Well, what is the rate now, 53?
53.
53 cents a mile?
Yep.
okay, so let's do a shot down to St. George and back is what?
Is that 400 or
I'm
something?
gonna go plus.
Yeah, 430 or something.
So that's 250, so one person, one car training, if they turned in a travel mileage would be farther, I mean, that's, I wouldn't say it's the farthest, but that's a regular, the farthest.
Right, yeah, or if they go to Salt Lake to Layton for the League of Cities and Towns, I mean, we got, and you guys probably went and didn't turn in anything, right? Yeah, and that's what's happening.
It is definitely, yeah.
Everybody's donating everything, and that's, I hate to see that budget item just, we shouldn't be relying on it.
300, 500?
I think 500 is a good. I don't want to limit anybody that wants to go to training to not be able to. get
Well,
training.
and I would say, if in worst case, we'll make sure they get there and amended in the end of the year, because I would agree, we definitely would want to trainings.
Yeah, and so the second training, the one below there is 1,000, I'd like to keep it at the 2,000.
Okay. And that would be the training, and so that would not just be water training, that could be
That would be any of the planning
planning,
or the council, so that's what these two boards,
Yep,
is what we're talking about, wouldn't be under the water.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
and then,
Meals.
yeah, meals and entertainment.
We can't afford your kind of entertainment, Eric.
Yeah, I know. Well, and I see that go to zero, and it concerns me because it's been a couple years since we did a mill, but I just paid for that out of my pocket, but I don't think that that's a bad thing to have. I mean, that's when we did our training, is when we had them dinners. So we did the dinner and had the training that our legal, what we have to have every year, which was an incentive to get everybody here, so we had that training.
Well, I know even for your planning department, but I think it's either state law or something that they're supposed to be reimbursed something, and a meal would be considered, at least it used to be, I don't know if that coach changed, but
Yeah,
for those who serve on board,
they get reminded of that often, you owe us some dollars.
that there is compensation, and a lot of municipalities do a dinner as that compensation for the one meeting, but I think,
But what about as far as like going to St. George, if you're down there for 3 days, shouldn't all of that,
oh, it should be.
those
yeah.
meals?
I mean, anything that they go,
Well, there's a per diem that you have to follow from the state level, so it gets a little complicated.
Right, but that still should be part of that.
yeah, the town's not gonna want anybody that does anything for the town, that, you know, that, if they turn in a legit bill, we wanna take care of it. And I know lots of bills don't get turned in that should be for time spent on town business from lots of folks. Okay, so give me an amount there, Eric. We've done, in 16, we did 380, and then we haven't been using that category as much, but I agree, we ought to have something.
So let's go 500.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay?
Does that sound good?
It's just, I hate to say that 500 is not a lot of money, it is
It's
a lot of
not.
money, but it goes real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real much.
Okay, down to office supplies then, at the 8,000, and we kind of came in at actual right now at 59, so we're gonna still have a little bit more for the next couple of months, but
Yeah.
Leave that one.
See, and the one that I had highlighted here was admin supplies, 4141, 440. And because we had 77 and then it just went away, so I'm assuming that we moved everything to office supplies. There are no admin supplies.
As far as just, yeah, I mean, I guess it's one and the same.
That's what I kind of figured after I highlighted it. It's like, oh, well, that's what somewhere else since 2017, which I assumed was just on office supplies.
okay.
Which I'm fine with. I just, when I see zero, I was like, wait, aren't we doing nothing?
Yeah, and Sherry, on some of that, you know, you categorize some of the things, and you're able to move from account to account from our budget, right? So
Yeah,
when I say move things, meaning you know which accounts to take it out of, and or depending on the subject matter, you're writing a check for.
One's just office supplies.
It's usually coded when she puts it in. Mary does most of the coding when she puts the
Ah, okay.
invoices in. I don't put many invoices in, Mary does most of it. I do
Okay, so-
it
And so
occasionally.
that's a coding that you pick up on to cut the checks off.
Yeah,
of.
yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
I didn't know how to.
Yeah, but they can be changed. I think it's-
Okay.
Couldn't you get rid of one of those?
So,
So on that 6th page, Mayor,
which, okay.
So that's
But
where
you'd
we're
have to
just
look
going.
at
Salaries and
hours.
wages, did we go from 59,000 to 95,000?
So 95 was our budget last year, and then we kept the same
Proposing the same.
this year. And the actual, right now, we're at 59.7, and so,
And we've got a month left.
and we've
2
got a
months.
month and a half or so left.
2 months, because this month's not on there yet, she's, the check, well, Yeah.
Okay, so two months.
So we're about right there, you think? There's 95 more than we need.
well, you figure, if you go back to your warrants and you look, so like just for.
I don't know, it's more than we need, budget.
So it's close. Okay, that just seems like a huge jump to go from 60 to 95.
Well, and it was because before, but when that, in last November or October, when that change got made, we will, for the full year from June, or excuse me, July 1st through next year, we will be pushing that number.
Yeah.
So if you have 2 more months, maybe another 72,000.
Any other questions on that front page or? No, it's kind of-
Yeah.
Might be.
It's a huge jump.
Doesn't sound like it.
Okay, do you want to move on that line item, or do any more discussion on it, or? So, the last literally 3 years except for last year, we were at 64.
And everything in the water budgets, I mean, it's just, you just don't know, there's so many unknowns that you never know, there's a 2-inch thin line.
Especially water. Did you get your questions answered, John? Jim, I was on it.
Not really. So I see we're at 59 right now. We've got 2 months left. We pay how much a month roughly?
So just for town council is $6,050, so you're talking another
Okay,
13,000.
so 13 on to 60 is 73.
And then payroll, as far as the 2 municipalities kind of vary just between hours, between all 3.
So do we add another $23,000 to that?
What's the,
This seems like a huge jump, guys. If I was going to a public hearing on this and I saw that salaries and wages went from 60,000 to 95,000, it's a big jump.
Well, it's just where it was budgeted last year, and I think we just left it where it had been
Yeah,
budgeted.
so we, last year, we dropped it from the 60 down.
I understand what we did. All I'm doing is bringing up the idea that that might be something we want to look at because it seems like a big jump that others might ask questions about or be able to address it to them. And maybe that's how we address it to them. We just left it the same.
Well, and what we don't want to do is have to, it's more than just an amendment at the end of the year, as far as if we,
We also have a public meeting coming up too about salaries, don't we?
Yeah.
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 and so, you know, if we put less and we go over, we're gonna have to have another either public hearing or, I don't know, I think we're gonna be pretty close to that.
I'm not proposing to go lower. I'm just proposing that we ought to have a good answer and maybe you guys gave me one.
You know what, there's no, I have to say that category wise, it's all crystal ball.
I
Literally.
I understand.
And then I did want to be on the plus side, and if we don't use that, that just, we're not gonna spend it, you know, we don't necessarily, actually, we don't spend, I mean, if we don't spend it, it goes into our PTIF account.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else that wraps up, that would wrap up the general fund budget only? Is there a couple more?
No, I was just adding that up, the difference, 3,500.
Okay.
on that.
The-
So playing with it.
Government there, if we pay, what somebody else with $90,000.
Oh, yeah, so this would be the budget worksheet for the capital projects fund is what I have in my hand next. And this particular is just really interest coming in from PTAC accounts. Is that correct, Sherry?
probably.
Just that line item, that interest earnings, it's kind
It would
of,
be from the PDIF, the capital project road account has, I mean, land account has quite a bit of money in it, you know, so it is generated.
So we've kind of just kept everything in cost support all the way through. Any questions on this particular budget?
No, like I said, it's so,
The next budget would be the water fund, which would be the town of Daniels water fund. And, we spent a few minutes looking at 75,000 we put in for our budget. We received about 81 last year. Once again, trying to plan low, but loving to be over and above what we planned for. Anyway, so we have 75,000 budgeted for the operation, income and expenses for the operation of the water fund.
closer to you get, I think.
You know what it is, if anyone wants to take a quick look down the line items, I won't go through each one. If someone has a question, so can bring it up and let's talk about it.
Just one thing that I want to let you guys know, on both water, this one, and on Storm Haven, we've separated out the water testing versus the water sampling to try and have a better picture of the difference between the two.
And since Mary brought that up, we know that our current testing system is somewhat of a Band-Aid, and we are looking to see if we can have some other avenues to reduce the cost of the testing itself. And so just so the council knows that we are looking at some of these costs that are coming in for our water testing to reduce, but at the moment we need a licensed water operator, and so we're in the Band-Aid mode of using the engineering firm, but we would like to find a person that can take care of that for us.
Or are we looking at pulling that back out of engineering?
As far as the dollars, or what?
So that's actually gonna be pulled from engineering, and they've actually started kind of breaking it out between the testing portion of it versus what the engineering is.
Which will start
So-
from this new budget, but not this last 2 months.
Yeah,
Right.
Is that for both systems?
yes.
So it's all been kind of in together, and we're just trying to do one more line item to kind of separate.
So we'll be able to see testing on each system and
Yes.
sampling?
Yep, if you look down under 6420, 6421, I broke it out between testing versus the sampling.
Uh-huh.
So the testing is actually somebody testing it, the sampling.
That will be Ford Laboratories, is that what you're,
Correct. Yep,
and so then the other one will be, what we're paying somebody to get the samples?
correct.
Okay. I guess the hard part of that is there's a difference between gathering the samples and taking them to Salt Lake and getting them tested. So where do you draw that line? Where are you done getting the samples? And at what point are you testing versus gathering?
Great question.
One would be the whole pulling of the sample, taking it down, and then once it's in Chemtech board, that's the portion that's
So all the town sites will be in the sample.
That's how we were looking at it. The testing from Chemtech would be X, the gathering would be X, separating those for water. Okay.
Because you gotta think of where your point of, what am I trying to tell you? Where you have to transition, like you have to, oh my gosh,
Sample
once
site?
they sign for it, what?
Oh,
Once they sign I know what I'm trying to tell you, it's not coming to me.
Now, who
Sorry.
Chemtech signed, or,
Yes, so once it's delivered, like whoever samples and pulls it, that cannot leave their hands until it's dropped off, and then Chemtech Board has to sign for it. So to me, it would all be part of that sampling, and then once it's signed over to them, then it becomes testing.
How is this happening now? Who does it?
GDA,
so Kim was doing it for Ryan. She was going around and taking some of those and getting them down to Chemtech, but
So as soon as she takes a sample, she's got to be in her car driving down to Salt Lake?
it
Or-
cannot leave her hands
Okay.
and be in somebody else's possession
Yeah.
until
So-
it's delivered there, and then they sign for it.
and what they had was they had Ford coming up and picking them up at GDA.
Oh,
So she wasn't driving them down. She took the samples, put them in the styrofoam. They took them to GDA and then Ford come and picked them up.
and so we're trying to get the collection down. The forward, yeah, that's gonna probably stay the same, but the collection of dollars is what we're trying to get down.
Which that's, the sample is the hard part. You mess that up, the testing all goes up through the roof.
Chain of custody.
Well, and it is, I mean, it's just timing and the same person. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying that they're actually picking it up and then taking it? So have they been contracted to do it that way? Because if that's the case,
The
then they're
GDA,
not, are they charging for that?
That-
No, Chemtech Ford. You're
Right.
saying that they pick it up and they take it back, so is
Right.
that part of their fee?
that was all Ryan put all that whole package together, so I don't know.
And I think there was more than just us with, as far as them collecting in Chemtech. So I think there's multiple people when Chemtech came out, they didn't come just for ours, but, yeah.
Yeah, well, once that chain of custody takes over, I mean, if that's already included in the fee, then that's still part of the testing.
So we pay $4,700 a month or a year on testing them? Yeah, okay. For both entities.
Well, they're separated between two.
Okay, but total, I'm just talking about 2,700 and 2,000.
That's
Yeah.
each water system is done.
Okay.
Because it's pretty equal as far as each one of them doing the same testing at the same time.
Well, they just keep, the tests aren't gonna go down. We're getting more tests
Right.
all the time.
Well, that's
and the
it,
one-
and then,
The one alone's $400 for the radicals.
so once again, we're trying to look at what we know is every 2 years or 3-year tests. And if we don't have some of the bigger tests, we try to take that into the budget for this particular year. And we always have some big ones, but last year we had a few bigger ones that we don't have to do every year.
Yeah, Kimberly actually got a few of those taken off too.
Yeah.
Well, and if you look at the,
So where do we go now to look at those? Their invoices? Are they broken out in their invoices? They're not, are they?
as far as,
GDA?
GDAs, I've not seen a breakout. I haven't seen one, but I haven't seen it broken out, so. But that's why, through our discussions, we just kind of wanted to know that we're trying to work on.
Okay. So we should probably know that even if they continue.
And I bet it'll be up right next week, and he'll either confirm or, you know, if they did it, if they themselves have it broken out, then he could give it to us.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
yeah,
I'm all right with that. We haven't been late since they started doing it, so.
so if you look though,
Happy to do that.
they're actually kind of breaking it out between, so this would be Kim as far as testing. And then, so right here.
So that's not breaking down what we want, right?
So
We're looking at testing versus
Gathering.
gathering samples. So this is really-
Ah, good. Time to upgrade. So she's come up and.
and it was broken out between,
It did. I didn't pick that up. When I looked at their invoices, I didn't.
That's good.
And you know,
Congratulations
with
for
the-
me.
Kind of, our idea was coming, you know, later this week, but like right now, we may or may not be able to answer that particular one, but I know, I mean, they should have.
Yeah, they will, yeah. And like I said, on both of these, when I went over them, it's as good as you can get, because you just don't know.
Well, every time you look at it harder, you can start tweaking the number a little bit to try to justify it, and you realize that $1,000 or $500 is not gonna make a whole lot of difference in the yearly
Yeah.
wage. Any other questions then, as we go through the water fund?
I'm looking at actuals in 2016 and 2017.
And remember, we still got 2 months of different incomes still to come in, okay?
But in your testing and sampling, this is, in 17 and 16, this is a reflection of when we had the license and Gary was doing the testing, a considerable amount of savings, correct?
Well, except for Gary never had a license.
I know we were using Mike's license, but the simple fact that we've had to go to the engineering firm to get the license.
Absolutely, they're $100.
Has put this expense.
They're $120 an hour.
Yeah, gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
I mean, $100 more than I am. For you.
And that's kind of why, you know, we know it's a Band-Aid, but we want to get off that one as soon as we can.
Okay. Then the other question I had, if you don't mind here, 6450, water repair and maintenance, the actual in 218 is a negative 683.
Which number did you
You're
say?
not on, are you on general or Storm Haven?
General.
The very first page or the second page there, Kim?
Very first page, the GL number 6450, water repair.
Perfect.
The actual in 218 is 683 negative. How does that happen?
We didn't have enough money in the budget.
Okay.
It's true.
I mean, that's exactly how Polaris would have handled that particular line item, yep. And that's where the amendment will come in next month for those kind of
I
issues.
got you,
Yep.
got you.
So it was actually 10,000 or 16, yeah, $10,683 the actual budget. If it was in there.
If it was in there,
If you were to see the total expenditures.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Probably broke that up.
Well, may have, lost track of that on all of this, you know.
Yeah, they started breaking up.
I don't think we've got through, or maybe did at least the water fund for town. Any other questions on that? If not, we'll move on to the Storm Haven water budget. So our actual for 17 was 29. We kept, feel 27 would be somewhat, for this next year's budget would be a good amount to probably count on as far as dollars coming in. The sewer services, I think we've been up a full year up there when we raised those rates. Was that not late last fall? Yeah. So we have a half year of the new rate instead of the full year, so that's why the amount on that line item is a little more than usual. The sewer, the operating expenses looked at, if you get a chance to look at them, really didn't change a whole lot. There's a 35, water engineering. That went up due to the well and everything else we're gonna be dealing with the Storm Haven, so that's why that line item has jumped. Other than that, I don't see a big, lots of jumps there. Repair and maintenance to go hand in hand with the engineering on the system, so those two line items were the majority. Non-operating income, that 271 is going to be the grant amount. 30,000 will be our contributing, so it was a 90-10, 90% grant, 10% match, which is
Good deal, huh?
Yeah, wow.
and
Get that at my house.
you know, we just, on the miscellaneous, on the second page, we haven't been utilizing those line items at all, so.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the budget? If not, the town, will entertain a motion to accept the tentative budget, and,
Move to accept as modified.
okay, we have a motion to accept as modified. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Do we have a second? Any last discussion?
So will she go through and adjust,
Yes.
so we'll have different totals, right?
Yes. So when we present next month, we'll have everything.
It'll be in.
Yes.
Okay. Super.
And we have all those notes, Mary, that, as far as the amounts we clarified.
I believe so.
Okay. Yes.
I probably should have sent those to you. I didn't even think about sending them over to you. I just sent her all my questions, that's all.
Excellent. So we had a first and a second, and a discussion, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Tentative budget passes. Okay. Chair, I'd like to go into closed session.
Before you do that, I had to back up a little bit.
Bet.
When I was not at the last meeting, John, do you mind telling me the communications you had with the legal aspect and collections and claims? you were gonna talk to the attorney about.
I got an email and I forwarded, I got some code or documentation that tells you what you can and can't do. It's pretty clear. Can we just forward that to you?
Sure.
I thought maybe we had, but I guess we didn't.
It's just that meeting, everyone at the meeting, there was paperwork on it and stuff, yeah, we need to get that to you.
Do you still, I mean,
I
we
just
get
wanna
Mary
know-
to maybe send it to you.
Okay, I'll do that. I just wanna know the parameters I can operate on when I start to see some trouble.
Yeah, it seems like, my feeling is, Eric, that's not a really good way to go.
No, it's actually, the state's weighed in on all that and basically tied your hands.
Yeah.
So if you anticipate that you're gonna get stiff, what do you do about it?
They have not only anticipated you're gonna get stiff, but they limited how much you can go get after you're stiff. And that's $200. So you're limited by state law, if you're stiff, that you're able to collect $200.
So shut the
And
water
the way we
off.
do that is go through the property tax to the county, and that's how the lien works versus an actual lien. That's who'll collect it for us.
Okay. I'm real.
Were you gonna discuss number 5 publicly, or is that gonna be in your closed session?
When we put the budget out, we were gonna discuss it, but that's going into closed session for tonight. Not line item.
For reason I state, you're doing it later.
No,
Sorry, Mark.
yeah, you know, if I had pushed it down to, if I had said we were pushing that down to closed sessions, because since I put this out and tonight, there was something that came up that needed to be discussed. I mumbled in that part that you didn't hear, I'm sorry. That was,
Glad you stayed though.
Well, yeah. I guess we'll hear about it in the planning department, what you're discussing on this annexation.
I would be pretty sure you're hearing about it.
Okay. Because I want to know what's going on with it.
Is that on the northern property?
That's what you
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah, well,
all around there.
Okay.
So Chair, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session and come out of regular,
So moved.
council meetings. Chair first,
Well, second.
second. And any discussion? If not, all in favor of leaving regular session and going into closed session? Aye. Any opposed? We're now in closed session.